I cracked my skull open and I didn't know it.
What's going on, wrestling fans? It is I, Steve, and welcome to 10 Count right here on Wrestling News Co. On today's edition, I am talking to the Impact. Well, I guess now it's the TNA World Champion. It's Alex Shelley. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you, bud?
I'm doing great. Now, are we going by TNA now? Because I know Hard to Kill is when it officially starts, but are we there now?
You do whatever you want.
Well, let's start with something first then before we move on to TNA Impact Championships. Where is the strangest place you've ever wrestled?
Oh man. Nothing all that out of the ordinary. Gosh. I mean, I've wrestled in all your major countries for the most part. I don't think any of them have been overly strange. Sorry.
No location where you're like, this might be a little iffy.
Nope.
Wow. Oh, okay. You're the first. You were the first to not be somewhere strange, but hey, congratulations. You won the award of not wrestling somewhere uncomfortable. So cool. But moving on there, because Hard to Kill on January 13th is coming up. You're defending your championship against Moose. Now,
Mhm.
Moose for a long time was the face, it felt like, of Impact and TNA. Now you are. Is there added pressure onto you heading into this?
No. I don't really feel pressure the same way a lot of people might. There's always a sense of duty, especially as world champion. You want to do well and you want to retain your belt. At the same time, I understand that I'm in this position for a reason, and I understand that all I can do is my best. So I'm complacent, recognizing those two trains of thought.
Because with TNA now coming forth, no longer being Impact TNA in January, and they're having you be the champion heading into this. Like, this is a monumental moment for the rest of time and history of wrestling in TNA. You're going to be the man who's like, oh, who was the champion when we rolled into this new era? Alex
Mhm.
Shelley. And obviously, as you just described, there's pressure, but there's not pressure on you. But obviously, heading into this, the world will be watching because when Impact announced TNA was coming back, well, the internet went crazy. They went buck wild. What point did you know that this was going to happen, that TNA was going to return?
A little bit before that, not too long. Obviously, there was a video that showed TNA was coming back, and we had to film that probably about a month or so before that. So, yeah, maybe about 30 days.
Wow. And it never leaked out either, which is astounding because with anything in wrestling, it feels like something
Mm-hmm.
falls onto the internet. Because go back a few years ago, Moose was the TNA champion while someone else was the Impact champion. And there were always rumors that TNA was going to return, but COVID obviously caused a rift in that. And I know COVID did some stuff to you as well because you were supposed to be more involved with Impact, right? But then you also have something else going on in your life involving health. Now, talk about that because that was a big decision probably on your part and Impact.
Not really for me. I mean, I just did what I had to do. And at the time, pre-COVID, I was offered contracts from multiple companies, and I probably would have signed one of them, but COVID happened. And when I saw the entertainment industry take a hit, a pretty brutal hit, I thought this would be a poor time for me to put all my eggs in the entertainment basket. So I was working as a physical therapy clinician at the time, and a lot of people needed help. That's for sure. So our clinic stayed open throughout the pandemic. I worked all throughout the pandemic. And as regulations changed, as the COVID situation changed, my company basically mandated that we got vaccinated, but that was going to take a period of time. And I had to cancel wrestling bookings because of that. And it broke my heart to do so, but physical therapy was my livelihood and I had patients to take care of, and I did what I had to do. So COVID was strange times for everybody.
But what was right with you and Kevin Nash being put together a few years ago in Impact Wrestling in TNA? I loved it so much. It was so damn entertaining. You can go on YouTube and Impact Plus and watch that. Whose idea was this to put you two together?
I don't know, to be honest with you, but I'm glad they did.
What did you learn from Kevin Nash? Because obviously he's filled with knowledge.
Copious amounts. We only have a finite amount of time, so anything that I would try to parlay wouldn't be done justice. But he taught me so much about basically how to get comfortable and how to be successful with things that weren't wrestling related, but were. It wasn't like he had to teach me moves or show me how to do things. Um, a lot of it was very anecdotal teaching, although there was some mechanical stuff too. And listening to his experiences, uh, I don't have kids, but I imagine part of being a parent is you having these experiences, succeeding or making mistakes, and then relaying that information to your son or daughter. And in a lot of ways, he's my wrestling dad. And I was able to get that information from him. So he told me about how he succeeded or how he failed at times or what worked and what didn't. And if you're smart, you read between the lines. I mean, it's a guy who made millions upon millions of dollars and crossed over into media. He's been in a bunch of Adam Sandler movies too. He's just highly successful in many realms. If you don't learn from him, I don't know who you could learn from.
That's true. So if Kevin Nash is your wrestling dad, is Chris Sabin your wrestling brother?
Probably one of them, yeah.
But with Chris Sabin, there's obviously a brotherhood there. And in wrestling, you always hear it's hard to find friends, but clearly he's more than a friend to you, correct?
Yeah.
What, like on the road when you guys are traveling together, is there something that you like to do? Music, stop at a food? Is there something you and Chris Sabin do that no one else knows that is like a friendship bonding moment?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's all pretty well publicized. We've had all sorts of different ventures together, but a lot of it is just camaraderie or just being comfortable with somebody or having been around them. I mean, what is a friendship or a relationship in the first place? And it's a series of shared experiences, and you accumulate those over time. Well, we've been accumulating those for like plus years, so fortunate to have each other.
Oh man. And of course in wrestling it's not ballet. Do you have a worst injury? What is your worst injury?
Mm, I have a couple pretty bad ones, but I'm very fortunate to have not had punch wood anything that's really like taken me out for like a really really long period of time. You know, like 6 to 8 weeks is minimal compared to what some people go through. I cracked my skull open and I didn't know it in the New Japan Best of the Super Juniors in 2013. And foolishly, I wrestled twice that night. So I cracked it in the first match and then wrestled again in the finals. And I had some complications from that for a little bit. And I had to get a CT scan. That was a big workup. And I'm very, very lucky nothing serious came from that. Um, but that was maybe one of the more intense injuries.
I would think cracking your skull might be a bad injury, especially when you don't know and you're competing even after. That's got to be whew, finding out later on. I imagine what you were feeling like, though. Again, more feelings winning the TNA World Championship for the first time. I imagine your phone must have been blowing up with text and voicemails. What's that reception like? Because obviously the goal always is to be a champion. And here you are, the world champion, and obviously everyone's reaching out to you, congratulating you. How did that feel?
You know what? I kind of muddied because I intentionally did not check my phone for like probably until the next morning. I won the belt and I was the last match, and I drove Yuya Uemaru, who's in New Japan, out to dinner. We had food, went back to the hotel, aired my gear out, and then wanted to wake up early and go to the gym the next day because I had to wrestle the next day too. And I remember checking the phone after that. And there were a lot of thank yous, but you know, it was just nice of people to reach out and just think of me anytime somebody does that and expends any energy. That's very considerate. But it's another day, right? Like you have to carry on and go forth. And, you know, some people say when you win a championship, well, that's when the hard work starts. So I had my working boots on.
I imagine you've had your working boots on for a long time because, I've watched you for at least, 20 years now, and you've been everywhere. You've done everything. And one of my favorite things, my first introduction to you, then I went back and found more paparazzi productions. You holding a handheld camera, getting dirt on certain superstars in TNA. I know you used to have the camera at ringside watching your matches, but the paparazzi productions and going more into a storyline driven with this. Is this your idea? Is this someone else?
Nope, not my idea. I can't remember whose it was, honestly.
Did you always hand around a handheld camera? Because we all have cell phones now with cameras on them, but here you are with an actual physical camera.
Right. Nope.
You didn't always carry around a camera.
No.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Final resolution, though, is coming up on December 8th. And of course, we have Hard to Kill on January 13th. I am so pumped for this. I'm so happy TNA, that video package that aired. Oh, I'm pumped. You're a pump. We are all pumped. Alex, Shelley, thank you so much for being here on Tank Out. It's been a pleasure talking to you today about everything. Oh, excuse me. I'm a little sick. Talking to you today. Have a wonderful time. And I can't wait for TNA to come back. See you guys
Thank you.
later. And bye-bye.